everybody, and welcome to this walkthrough of the text guides with me and Mr. RJTV. Welcome, buddy.
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
I'm
Good to
doing,
be here with you again.
yeah, likewise. I'm doing fine. You know, it's a little bit sad. I'm not gonna lie, to be home from vacation now, but still, you know, amazing to see. We have a new tournament for me getting right back into it. Yeah, I miss the sun a little bit.
Oh yeah, last day of vacation's always a hard one.
Oh my God, yeah, anxiety. I don't know why how I pronounce that one, but it's something like that at least. So, as always, everyone, we're going to go over the text guide for you that want to download it yourself or just open it up on your computer. You can find the link to the text guides in the video description down below. Also, for those of you looking for more detailed instructions, and then I mean when the tournament win is revealed, which it gets on Monday, the first day, of course, on the tournament, then you can sign up on Patreon to get the updated text guides. Those will be pinpointed information about how to approach the shots based on my play in the various division. And yes, I play the holes a lot to try to get you the best possible information. Also, don't forget to subscribe. 43k soon, and that's just climbing, which is amazing. Thank you so much for that. Both me and RJ, in whatever channel you're watching this one on, we would like to have a thumbs up if you do like the content. So don't forget to hit the thumbs up before you go. So, RJ, are you ready?
I'm ready.
I was about to read. It's the Fuji Open, it's called. Yes. And we do have a mix of Sakura Hills and Gokasho Bay, and to just make it clear, you can practice the Sakura Hills on tour number 3 for rookie, nothing pro and expert, nothing for master, and for Gokasho Bay it's only for pro and expert T, and that's tour number 10. So not much practice for this tournament, but we are going to jump into hole number 1, par 3, pretty straightforward. How do we play hole number 1?
Well, the main thing I'd like to point out, as you can see on the side panel in Tommy's notes, is this is a 20% hole, 20% downhill, and I think that's the most important thing, because other than that, it's very straightforward, especially for rookies. You're looking at a backbone, land right between the bunkers there, about 3 backspin dependent on wind, take advantage of the left slope, and aim about a half a square to the left.
For Pro and Expert, we're going to still play 20% downhill, and we're going to use a sniper here. Sniper is definitely going to be the best club, gives us a great accuracy, great ball guideline, definitely a good chance for getting the ball in the hole. Same thing really for Master. Like, there's 2 ways here, depends on the wind, because in tailwind we're going to play with a sniper, and with a headwind we're going to play with a driver, I believe. There is still a way to play with a sniper in headwind using a more wind resistant ball. I remember that from the last time in the tournament we had this one. We could play, when we played with a power 3 ball, we had a problem with playing with a sniper, but once we played with a wind 5 ball we could play with a sniper, and I remember actually getting a couple of hole-in-ones on this one. Definitely a hole, no matter what the wind is, this is going to be dialed in the end. So I've already mentioned the ball, wind resistance is the key here. Hole number 2, let's go for the dunk! Or what do you say here, RJ? Let me know.
I agree. Hole number 2 is a 10%er. For us rookies, I would like to go with a quarterback because of the excellent ball guide. I also think a quasar would be important, as I would go with 3 top spin and full right spin to kind of dial in that short iron shot. And because the pin is so close to the sand, I would definitely bring the thorn. I think a thorn dunk is the highest percentage shot you have, but as rookies, a lot of people say, I'm not very good at dunking. Well, then you still want to bring the thorn and aim maybe a little beyond the flag, because if you have a bunch of topspin, if it, you know, as soon as it hits like 90-some%, the ball actually comes back, and you don't want to aim it right at the pin, because then it'll actually roll off. So aim a little beyond the pin with your thorn, or go for the dunk if you're comfortable. The dunk, if you can get that down, is going to be an eagle every time.
Yes, a pro and expert tee. I do think the quarterback would be the best driver to play with here. Only if you do have a headwind, I would go back and play maybe with an extra mile, Thor's hammer, or with an apocalypse there as for the more distance we're getting. Otherwise, to quarterback, to the importance here when you play from second tee, and also from the third tee, where we do have holes where it requires us to get something to drop, like because we in all tournaments nowadays we do need something extra to drop. The quarterback is perfect to dial the drive in, so you do get to the same type of yardage every single time, so you can dial in the dunk. I also agree with RJ here. I think the dunk is the absolute better way to get an eagle, but if you don't feel comfortable, please do just go with the more backspin approach and let the ball roll back towards the pin. Very bumpy green, very hard to dial that shot in, so there is the biggest reason in my book why the dunk is a much higher percentage eagle. Also, pack the Saturn. I think that if we do make a bad drive, we maybe cut the rough rolling out short with the drive there on the right side or on the left side for that matter, it's good to have the Saturn to have the option to go for the dunk if you want to with this with its very high backspin level on the Saturn to actually go with that one. Something important, except for the 10% downhill for the drive, is 10% uphill for the second shot. So that means that the ball is going to be less affected by the wind when you're approaching, so you need to subtract that from your adjustment. Master Tee, same type of structure. Here I do feel that we could play with a turkey ball, like a wind 5 power 2 ball, or like a wind 4 power 3 ball, something like that, to reduce the wind a little bit, so we're not having like a 10, 11, 12, 13 mile per hour wind to adjust for the dunk. That's going to be super tough and might going to get us to adjust down into the sand or something like that. So I think a more wind resistant ball for Master Tee would be perfect. Otherwise, the same type of structure, same type of clubs. So then we do have hole number 2, and now we're gonna go to hole number 3. And this one was we have had it a couple of times, but it was a long time since we had it in a tournament, in my opinion. I think that's all for the Kokashu Bay. But I'm gonna be quiet. RJ, how do we play hole number 3?
No, I agree. I think that the older players are going to definitely remember this one, and the newer players are going to learn. And this is not one that should burn you too badly. It's 10% on your initial drive. I would go with an extra mile and a marlin just to cut down the wind ever so slightly. I guess you could go with a basic ball if you wanted to, but I would also go right side. And on going right side, that's why you need the extra mile. You're going to land where the first black box is, and then with full top spin and the full left spin of the marlin, that should get you up high enough to where you can use your Viper or a backbone. Make sure you bring both, just in case you get further up or if you're in between clubs. For your second shot, I like following that black line where that black box is. You're going to land there and bounce over to the green, to the pin, and in most cases you'll have a decent and easy putt.
Yes, pro and expert tee, and we are going to use a driver with distance. And I think, like, sure, we could play with a quarterback, but the problem with the quarterback in my book is the topspin. If we're not having it in level 9, level 10, we're going to have a problem with the topspin bouncing over the rough. And have to say that as well, we're going with the black line. It gives us the best possible way to maybe get something more than an eagle if we are lucky. So an extra mile in a level 4 plus, or a Thor's hammer level 3 plus, or something like that, that gives you as minimum 4.5 bar topspin. And sure, if you do have a quarterback and you do have it level 9, level 10, and you play with a power 3 ball, that could be good as well. Then to just bounce over the rough, get yourself as close to the top there possible. Make sure you're not going too far, so you're going into the rough. For the second shot here, we do have 2 ways to play, or like maybe 3 ways. It depends on the wind angle. But first, it's the more boring ways that we're using the island on the left, bounce ourselves over towards the green. Very little chance to making an albatross from there, as we do have to get the bounce in enough speed so you're bouncing over the rough, but then it's hard to get the ball to stop and falling back down towards the pin. Second way is to use the guardian. use the guardian even in a lower level, like even in a level 3+ level, then you can go directly at the pin using a lot of backspin, and to get the ball to be on the top, fall back down towards the pin, which will be a possible Albatross attempt. The only thing with that one is, with a tailwind, it's going to be hard to get that ball to stop in time, and also going to be hard to get enough rollback with the backspin with a tailwind. The third way to go with that, a lot of ways here, is to go with the sand bump. And yes, I said the sand bump. The reason I say the sand bump instead of the rough bump is because when they changed this hole, now it's like, it's a long time ago now, but then they made the rough in such a minor way, so the rough bump is very hard to do something about. It's either you're going to be stuck in the bunker, or you're going to bounce on the fringe, bounce over, go out of bounds. Therefore, I think the sand bump is a possibility, depending on the wind, of course, using like a 3 to 5 bars of topspin, depending on once again the wind angle, and that could be a possible Albatross as well. Drive 10% downhill, second shot nothing. We don't want to add or subtract anything for the second shot. Ball, power 3 ball, yeah, but power 2 ball could be good there as a power 1 ball as well. But I think like a power 2 ball, power 3 ball would be the best. Master T is the same type of structure, following the black line. If we're not having headwind, then we're going to play according to the white line, because we cannot reach over the rough, even though we're having a POC 7 trying to bounce and roll through the rough. I've tried, because we had headwind on this one in a tournament way back in the day. Then we play left side, then we will have to bounce on the fairway island, but from the left side we do have a better angle, so there is a possibility to get that ball in the hole for an Albatross. A lot of things to be said about this hole, and of course it's wind dependent as always. So we're gonna see what happens in the tournament while playing hole, when playing hole number 3. And hole number 4, par 4. I see this one as an opportunity. What do you say, RJ?
Definitely. If you play your cards right, this could definitely be an opportunity. If we get a lot of tailwind in rookie, you could definitely follow that white line. Just be careful not to put too much topspin, as you don't want to go into the rough, and that would be, I believe, your biggest opportunity. However, with neutral wind or a wind in your face, I would definitely go with the black line. The reason why I'm not suggesting the most popular shot, which is bouncing on that really skinny fairway, is because in rookie, most of you guys are going to have lower level extra miles, and if you hit it great, it just totally messes up your shot. So you're going to want to go, you want to be careful with your topspin. If you are able to, I would say a power 2 ball would be nice here, like a katana with a quarterback, if you have enough topspin on the quarterback. If not, just be careful with your extra mile that you don't accidentally roll into the sand. And then your second shot, as long as you bring a power 2 ball, will be a Viper, which is a pretty accurate club and easy to upgrade because it's a common, and you get a decent ball guide on it. So your approach should be great. Both the drive and your second shot will be 10%.
Yes, and we build on that from Pro and Expert as well. Like, we are going to try to play according to the white line as much as we can. So with a tailwind, we're going to go full blast, trying to get over the bunker, get ourselves as close to the green possible, and have a wedge or a short iron towards the pin. That's a pretty straightforward way, not something that we need to complicate even more. If we have a crosswind, we can choose. Either we play conservative, play according to the black line, lay up and go from distance, or we're going to bounce on the fairway in between the rough and the sand. And the reason I say that, to do that from Pro and Expert to you, and when we are I agree totally with RJ from front tee, to not do that in maybe like a crosswind situation. It's like, we do have better clubs, we do have better accuracy on our clubs, we are able to play more with power 3, maybe with a power 4 ball, and to bounce over and to get over to where the area is, where the white line is, somewhere in between that, is going to put your percentage in a much better place when it comes to approaching the pin for an eagle. So we are going to search for that route. But if we do have a headwind or a very very weird or tough crosswind, then we're going to play according to the black line, lay up, go with a sniper from distance. You might need to play with a power 4, power 5 ball on this one to make the drive a little bit easier following the white line. We'll see what the wind is going to give us, but definitely something that we'll need to have in mind. So here, 10% downhill drive, 10% downhill for the second shot. So you need to add that, because when we play downhill, the ball is going to be affected more by the wind. Oh, I not covered the master. Sorry. You play master the same way as pro and expert. That's why I didn't even think about it. Tailwind, we go white line. Crosswind, headwind, we'll play black line, because we cannot reach to the fairway on the left. Here I would say, you know, a power 3 ball, might even a power 4 ball if we do have a headwind, would be necessary. And same type of elevation adjustment for the third tee. Sorry, there, I missed that one. RJ, hole number 5. I see this one as one, yeah, it's the toughest par 3 by far, but maybe one of the tougher ones in the tournament overall.
Right, I completely agree. I would either go with the black line, and this is totally wind dependent. So if we have, let's see, a tailwind, and we need to move our club backwards, then we're going to go into long iron territory there. And in that case, I would aim right where that black box is and try to get it as close to the pin as possible. Let's see, I would use a quasar, because you're going to want as much right spin as possible. And you might even need to add a little bit of curl to have a chance, because every time there's a par 3, you want to go for the hole, unless it puts you in danger of, you know, getting a par by going into the rough or whatnot. Now, if you get the opposite and we actually get wind that is blowing in our face, then when you adjust for the wind, you push it out further. So you'll be in guardian range, which would be minimum distance. So make sure that you're adjusting, you know, that way. And I would actually put my target on top of or in between both of those bunkers, almost on the actual green itself with full backspin. I think that would be the shot that I would prefer to see in the rookie. I think that one's a lot more straightforward, but still very hard to sink hole-in-one.
Totally. And, sorry.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to also add 20% is super, super important, especially if you're using the black line, because you're going to have to aim very close to that bunker, and I think a lot of people are going to end up in it.
My apologies, I'm so overly excited for the first video since vacation, you know, going all bananas. No, I was just going to build on the fact that this is going to be a hard hole to get something to drop. For those of you that has played this one from Pro and Expertise, which is Tour 10, are going to understand what I'm saying when I say this one is going to be tough. And I'm not seeing this one as the one that we're going to have to expect an hole-in-one to be able to compete. This one is going to be a general birdie hole. We're definitely going to try to get a hole-in-one, absolutely, but there is it's a hard one. So when we do play, we're going to play according to the black line basically every single time. The only way I wouldn't is if I have like a absolute straight tailwind having around 7 miles per hour plus, then I will have to either use a more wind resistant ball, or I will have to choose the white line. But the black line, use a ball with as much side spin possible. I would prefer a Katana or a Kingmaker for the side spin 3. And then we're going to go from 3 bars of backspin to 6 bars of backspin, depending on the wind angle. We might need to go with a little bit of curl to the right, especially if we do have a wind right to left. Otherwise, we shouldn't be having any necessity of curl. Have in mind that if you're going to adjust down into the sand, you're going to go from a higher point to a lower point. So you need to pull up or push up, I don't know, towards the pin around 2 rings to be able to hit the intended landing spot. Super important, as once you go from a higher point to a lower point, you're going to lose distance. That's how the game works, and then we need to adjust for that. From Master Tee, we're going to try to use the spot on the left side of the bunker and bounce ourselves from there up towards the pin. We are going to, in that case, in headwind, going to use a driver, and even with a power 0 wind 5 ball, or maybe with a power 1 wind 5 ball, we're going to play with a driver there as well in a crosswind type of situation. If we do have a very tricky wind, we maybe have a strong tailwind or something like that, I would prefer to go down and play before the bunker using the white line, bounce over the bunker and get ourselves towards the pin. 20% extra we need to add. This one is played a decent amount downhill, I would say, but once again, this is not a hole you should expect a hole in one. We always go for it, but make sure that you stay away from getting into the rough or into the sand with your approach shot, because that shot, it's not going to be an easy one to get in the hole from that distance. Hole number 6, RJ. Now we come into a hole that I dislike. I'm gonna come to that later, but how do we play hole number 6?
You know, I really dislike this hole as a true rookie. It's very wind dependent. I would say bring a quarterback if we have a headwind, because you can really trust the ball guide line. You're going to want to get as close to the rough. It's almost like a little mini cliff or whatever where it goes down to the sand. You're going to want to get as close to that as possible, but within your comfort factor. You don't have to be like right up against the edge. Get as close as you're comfortable getting. And then if you bring a big dog for your second shot, you can, following the black line, it may take some curl to get around those trees. You can get on the green in 2 using the black line, or another way you can tackle this is if you have a neutral wind, and when I say neutral, side spin, or a tailwind, then with rookie clubs, you'd want to use an extra mile, and you're going to want to bounce approximately where your ball would finish rolling with the quarterback, all the way up by the edge there. You're going to want to bounce over and roll up to where that white box is, which will give you a much easier shot. However, if we do have a neutral wind, you're going to see a few people going into the sand. They're going to clip the rough, or something like that's going to happen. So pick your poison. Do you want an easier drive, or do you want the easier shot on the tee? For a higher score, if you're really competing for a medal, you're going to forego the first shot that I mentioned and go for the jump if it's at all possible with the clubs you have. Also, just wanted to say 10% on the first shot.
Yes, and that's you. I think you summarized it very, very well, because that's where we will have to decide if we're going to go for a medal and we need a drop, then we will have to go aggressively. Layup is going to be like a 99.9% eagle. Yeah, especially when it's so bumpy before the pin, so you will have to rely on so many aspects before the ball even gets up to the green, which is tough. But tailwind, crosswind, we're going to try to get over. Tailwind is a no-brainer. We pull a power 3 ball, go with overpower, bounce, and use as much topspin possible to gain as much distance on the other fairway. Crosswind, we might need to consider playing with a power 4 or power 5 ball if we have any. Berserker ball could be perfect. Power 3 ball will work. It depends on your driver, how much topspin you're having. Having an extra mile level 5 or 6 is definitely going to be a difference than having an apocalypse level 4, level 5, or even better. As you have more distance with the club, you have more topspin, and yeah, so really look at that when you play. So that's why you could be better off, especially with a lower level club, to play with a power 5 ball, a berserker instead, to actually get it over. Once you get it over, you do have an approach towards the pin. Go for the pin. Try to use a club that gives you a decent amount of backspin, so you can aim directly on the fringe or on the green. I very rarely suggest aiming on the fringe, but that's because there is such an inconsistency with the fairway before the green starts that I would rather take the risk of bouncing on the green or on the fringe to get towards the pin. If we do have a headwind, we need to lay up. We cannot reach over. We lay up and we use a club with distance for the second shot to bounce before the rough, get it towards the pin. A big dog could be perfect, Cataclysm could be perfect. Sniper level 10 with a power 3 ball should work as well. Master Division, same type of structure, but here we need to add a crosswind as well. If we do have a crosswind, we need to lay up, and that's the same with headwind. Otherwise, with a tailwind, we're going to go for it, bounce over, gain as much distance possible. 10% downhill for the drive. For the second shot, if we lay up, 10% downhill. If we don't lay up and we bounce over, we're only going to adjust 5% approaching the pin according to the white line. Yes.
Oh, I just wanted to add, I think I didn't mention rookies. I would definitely bring a Titan ball as well. You're going to want a power 3 ball here. If not, even for if you're not going over, just to have that extra distance to ensure that you're not short on your second shot. So whether it's your first shot or your second shot that you're going to go more aggressive on, I think a power 3 ball would be recommended here.
Nice. And with those words, we're going to go over to one of the toughest holes in the whole game. No, I'm not going to joke about that. This is, yeah, it should be a decent shot for an hole-in-one. What do you say, my friend?
Let's see. Hole number 7. Get your pens, get your papers. This is the real deal here. First and foremost, it's most important to know that you go 10%. Second, you're going to want to aim right where that black box is that he has there, which is fairly close to where the rough and the sand meet, except make sure that you do have a little buffer in case you misjudge the wind a little bit. You're going to bring your backbone, and you're going to go with approximately, depending on wind, 1 backspin. That's it. And you could get it in the hole quite a few times just with that short note.
Yes, same thing for Pro and Expert T. Here we're going to play with a wood club though. So we're going to play with a sniper, use a ball that gives you a decent wind resistance. I would say Navigator would be perfect for this hole. We don't have to spend a bunch of wind 5 balls, but if you have some, play with it. But Navigator will work perfect. And we're going to use somewhere between 2 bars of backspin to 5 bars of backspin depending on the wind angle. 10% downhill here as well. Master, same type of structure, but here we're going to play with either a wood club or we're going to play with a driver depending on the wind that we are having. And once again, we're going to bounce over, let the ball fall down towards the pin. Very simple par 3. We're going to see many people being close. We're going to see many players being close and many players getting this ball in the hole. I see this one as to not be a must hole-in-one. That would be almost a bit disgusting to be able to say that about the par 3, but knowing the scores out there nowadays, it's definitely going to be a hole where you kind of want to drop at least 1 out of 2 in the weekend round. That's at least my feeling at the moment.
That's more than fair. We've asked for hole-in-ones on tougher holes than this, I believe.
Yeah, we do, and once people get more and more dialed in the end, and of course help from clans and help from community and from content creators and everyone, then in the end we find the adjustment that works. And there is where the updated text guides are perfect as well, because once finding the adjustment, then I do share that with those that are patrons, and that's definitely going to help out. Hole number 8, RJ, we do have a par 4. This one was a very long time we had this one in a tournament. I can't even remember when it was. So how do we play hole number 8?
Yeah, I can't even tell you in regular tour play how long it's been since I've seen this hole. However, it's not very difficult. It looks difficult if you take the white line, but even that way is pretty safe. Let's break it down real quick. First of all, if you are trying to save on your balls, or if you're one of those people that when you overpower a shot, you have no idea where it's going to end up, take the black line with a quarterback. Use the ball guide to get as close to the top of the fairway as possible without getting too close to where you might barely roll into it. What that's going to do is that's going to take the bunkers out of play for you, and you'll have a straight shot on pin. I'm sorry. Let's see. Hole 8. Okay, yeah, I lost my spot in my notes here. Your second shot, your first shot's 10%. Your second shot's actually 20%. And I would recommend either a hammerhead or a viper right at the pin. If you're lucky enough to have gotten the viper, I'm sorry, the hammerhead, because it's an epic card. I would prefer that over the Viper, but if not, the Viper is good enough to do it. However, and I just slammed my microphone, you can also go with a power 3 ball and go after the white line as a more aggressive way. And as long as you're not one of those people who hit it good or slice it or whatever when you're trying to overpower it, even if you screw up and end up in the sand, you can still reach the green. The water is not in play whatsoever unless, like, all of a sudden they decide to boost the winds way up in rookie. You're going to be able to go with full topspin, full overpower, power 3 ball, in most cases full overpower, and you'll be able to get right up to where that black box is, which is where you would be landing your second shot. You'll be able to end up there on your first shot and very easily get the eagle. So those are the two ways that I would play this particular course, and I'm wondering how different it would be for Pro, Expert, and Masters.
Yeah, a Pro and Expert we're gonna start with, and I would say, like you explained it so well on the black line, that you know that's the safety line. If we do have like a strong and very hard crosswind and also headwind, we're going to play according to the black line. We lay up, we use the quarterback even in Pro and Expert, and then we go with a sniper from distance there. If we do have a tailwind, we are going to try to get as close to the green as possible, and there will be players reaching the green as well. I'm 100% sure of that. It's not something that we can count on because we do have some bunkers there around the green, but I mean, you know, if you're having the day, you're having the luck, then you are gonna get it close there. But ending up in the sand just there by the green, I would say it's better than having a sniper shot from distance. So you rather take that instead of the sniper shot. So if you do have a tailwind in any form, that means even with a tailwind and a crosswind together, you either play with a power 3 ball, try to aim on the right side of the bunker, and use the topspin to bounce and roll through the rough onto the fairway, because you won't be able to clear the rough from that area. If we do want to go even more aggressively towards the pin, use a power 5 ball, berserker ball, or maybe even a snow globe ball to reach to the area above. That was a dog barking in the
Oh wow.
Oh my god,
I thought your house was haunted.
Yeah, holy cow, that scared me. But you bounce above the bunker and get the ball to roll as close to the green as possible. I would prefer, you know, to try to lay up and have a wedge like on the right side of the bunker, trying to not get myself into the bunker if I could choose. But in the end, for those of you that do want to go for the green, then you have to risk the bunker big time. But once again, definitely a possibility for an eagle. It all depends. Like if we do get a tailwind here, I'm gonna say this is going to be a must eagle. If we do get a headwind or a crosswind, this is going to be a general birdie hole. So the wind is going to decide so much. I kind of hope that we're not getting tailwind, I'm not gonna lie. So we're not going to have to expect this one as a must eagle, or see this one as a must eagle. Must eagle is par 4. Master T, same type of structure, tailwind, but here I would say if we do have a straight tailwind, then we're going to try to go for the left route, otherwise we're going to play to the right side. Same type of structure, same type of plan that we're having for Pro and Expert T. And important to have in mind, the drive with the black line is 10% downhill, which the second shot is 20%. If you're going directly on the white line, it's 20% downhill going there. It's interesting hole. A very long time ago I played this one in a tournament, so it's going to be kind of interesting. And once again, I hope we're not getting tailwind. Hole number 9, we end up with a hole that we haven't had in a tournament in a while either. So this one I kind of like. This one is a technical one, and I like those holes. So RJ, how do we play hole number 9?
I completely agree. A lot of people, when they're actually on the course, will see the black line and think to themselves, oh, they must be mistaken because there's not enough room to squeeze a shot back there, when in actuality there's definitely not only is it viable, but it's recommended. And the reason it's recommended is because it sets you up so good for your second shot. So when you're making your drive, you want to bring your extra mile, and again, you want to aim to the right side of the trees where you see that first black box. Make sure you put your 10% adjustment on. And I would go with a max of 4 topspin. Otherwise, there was a golf legend that told me if you go more than 4 topspin, you could get too close to the trees. Can't remember who said that. But a katana will work for you well here. And for your second shot, once you stop, like I said, max 4 topspin. Once you stop for your second shot, you got another 10% downhill with a Viper. I like the black line. I don't really care for too much for a rough bump in rookie. 3 to 4 backspin, depending on the wind direction. You might need to take a little off if you have, well, you might have to add to, depending on the wind you have, to bounce over the water and get onto the pin. Albatross is a really hard shot here unless you do get down the rough bump. If I remember correctly, there's a little corner up there that is big enough. And but if you can't hit that, I would say this is an eagle over an Albatross opportunity. Tommy, do you remember who that was that said if you go up too far close to the trees?
I wonder who that was. Yeah, I remember myself saying something like that at least. But yeah, it's the same type of structure. Pro and expertise, we're going black line. If we're not having like a massive headwind in our face, a massive, I'm talking 7, 8, 9 miles per hour with power 3 ball, won't happen in pro, but it will could happen in expert. So we go black line, bounce over, get ourselves over there, having a nice shot towards the pin. We either bounce over the water, or going for the rough bump directly. Rough bump is riskier, obviously, due to we have the bunker on the left, we do have the water on the right, we do have a fringe that will bounce ourselves over the green if we miss the rough completely. So you do need to know what you're doing if you're going to try the rough bump. That's what I want to have said, or at least knowing the adjustment. Otherwise, we take the safer route, the bounce over. There is still a good chance for an Albatross bouncing over the water. That's not going to be taken away. It's just that it is a little bit easier with the rough bump, as you're taking away the bounce situation, bouncing over the water. If we do have a headwind, white line, we bounce up there, trying to bounce there by the first tree, and I'm using overpower here. Those of you that do just want to play yourself down there on the fairway without using overpower, you use the second shot bouncing at the third black marker, like it's the same type of way as you would be going for the second shot for the black line. But if you do want to play it a little bit more aggressively in headwind, you can use a power 3 ball, as much topspin possible, and then go with overpower to bounce over the rough there on the left. Get yourself a little bit nicer angle towards the pin. Then we do need a club with backspin. A Saturn or a Tsunami would be perfect. So we do have the option to go for the dunk or to roll back towards the pin while using the green as a first landing area. 10% downhill for the dry, 10% downhill for the second shot. Power 3 ball is preferred, and a power 4 ball or something like that in master could be necessary as well. And there we have it. Oh my god, it's over. The first video since the vacation. Yeah, exactly. Tada. And I see that I forgot to turn the light off. It's all dark here now. In my I'm so used to, yeah, I'm gonna stop talking about the vacation. I'm just gonna be crying otherwise. So there you have it, everyone. Please, once again, you do have the link to the Imgur folder, where you can find the text guides in the video description down below. Don't forget to go over, or if you're watching this one on ItsRJTV channel, hit that subscribe button. Do that here as well. Join in the community, join in, have fun. I'm going to have a giveaway on Thursday celebrating 40,000. It was 3K ago, but celebrating 40,000, giving away a lot. I'm going to give away gift cards of a total worth of 40,000 gems. And once again, you cannot, I cannot give Golf Clash gift cards. So it's a Google Play card or it's an iTunes gift card that you will receive if you win. The only thing you will have to do is to be a subscriber here on the channel and also attend on the stream on Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will play the opening round at the same time, if I qualify, we'll say. But and we'll be giving away prizes I think every third hole, or every second hole, maybe something like that. We're gonna give away a prize. It's gonna be awesome. Can't wait. And I love to give back to the community. Patreon.com/golfclashtommy. Sign up, get the updated text guides. you will find link to that in the description down below as well. RJ, stream wise, is it 7 p.m. or what's the time for you?
There is a doctor's appointment tomorrow, so it'll probably be after 8. But every other day of the week, it should be 7 p.m. Eastern United States time.
Super. And for me, I'm going to stream, I think I'm going to stream every day. I think. I'm not certain if I'm going to stream Saturday, but I think I'm going to stream every day. And it's going to be a lot of content out there, maybe some breakdown videos and stuff. But starting already tomorrow morning, it's very early for those in the United States and on that side of the world. It's 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, or let's say like this, when the tournament starts, then I'm gonna be online playing all the divisions. Start with Rookie, then Pro, then Expert, and then Master. So I hope I will see you there. So I will leave it up to RJ to end it up here on the channel as always.
Happy stroking!
Happy stroking, everybody.